All right, lesson 5.2 for Math 100 is multiplying polynomials. So we've talked about what polynomials are, and now we're going to actually multiply them. Okay, the first example is a rule here, b to the m times b to the n. As long as those bases, the letter b, are the same, when we multiply, we add the exponents. The next one says b to the m raised to the nth power. We call that a power raised to a power, and we would multiply the exponents. And then when we have ab raised to the n, everything in parentheses gets raised to that exponent. So these are all the rules for multiplying polynomials. So let's do a few problems. If I had 2 cubed times 2 to the 4th, I would actually say 2 to the 7th. We could go ahead and work that out. Let's see, 2 to the 7th would be 32 times 4, which is 128, I believe. So there's one example if we had numbers as our bases. If we have variables like x to the 7th times x to the 9th, so this time our bases are variables, x. So again, we multiply, but we add the exponents, and we get x to the 16. Right, the next one, power raised to a power, that would be something like 2 squared cubed. And so that's where we power raised to a power, we would multiply 2 times 3 to get 6. And 2 to the 6th power would be 32 times 2 would be 64. Let's look at what that would look like if we had variables there. If I have x to the 6th raised to the 3rd power, power raised to a power, we multiply the exponents and we get x to the 18. Okay, and then our last one down here, everything in the parentheses gets raised to the exponent. So let's say in my parentheses I have negative 2 x cubed, and I want to raise all of that to the 3rd power. So everything in parentheses is going to get raised to the 3rd power. So the negative 2 is cubed, and then the x cubed is cubed. Negative 2 to the 3rd power means negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, which is negative 8. And then right here for my x cubed raised to the 3rd power, a power raised to a power, we multiply the exponents. So this would be the answer for that particular problem. So on problems like these, we would multiply, these are going to get bigger, and so we won't just have monomials, we will have binomials, maybe trinomials to multiply. So if you are asked to multiply, and our problem is 3x times x plus 4. So we're going to use that distributive property. Hopefully you remember distributive. That means you multiply through the parentheses. So that would give me 3x times x would be 3x squared. We add those exponents. Plus 3x times 4 would be 12x. Okay, let's do a different one. If I had negative 2x to the 4th times 3x squared minus 4x plus 1. Okay, so again we are going to distribute. So I'll distribute negative 2x to the 4th to all 3 of the numbers in my parentheses. So negative 2 times 3 would give me negative 6. X to the 4th times x squared, we add the exponents. Negative 2 times negative 4 would give me positive 8. X to the 4th times x to the 1st, we add those exponents. And then negative 2x to the fourth times positive 1 would be negative 2x to the fourth. And so that would be our final answer there. Okay. Sometimes we have something more than just a monomial times those. Let's multiply two binomials. Bi means two, so we're going to have two terms in each one. Right, so for example, let's say we have x plus 3 times x plus 2. And again, we are multiplying. Okay, well, our multiplying, you may have remembered from high school or your last math class, whatever that may be. Maybe somebody used the phrase multiply using FOIL. And FOIL is the first term, the outside terms, the inside terms, and the last terms. That would just be the order that you multiply things. I like to think of it as we're just distributing. Okay, we are just distributing. So we're going to take this x right here and we're going to multiply it by both of those. We're going to distribute it. Then we are going to take this 3 and multiply it by both of those. Once I've done all of that, I have finished all of my distributing. Okay, so let's do that. So x times x would give me x squared, add our exponents. X times 2 would be 2x. Now we're doing the 3. So 3 times x would be plus 3x. And then 3 times 2 would be plus 6. Now remember, in section 1 we went over like terms and adding like terms. And in this case, 2x and 3x are like terms. So I need to actually put those together to get 5x plus 6. So this would be my final answer for this particular problem. Okay, let's do one that's a little bit different. Let's say we have something like 3x minus 7 times 2x plus 3. Okay, let's try that one. So our process is going to be the same. We are going to distribute. So I'm going to multiply this 3x by both of these. When I'm done doing that, I'm going to multiply negative 7 times both of these. Okay, so let's do all that multiplication. So 3x times 2x gives me 6x squared. Add the exponents. 3x times 3 gives me plus 9x. Right, now we're multiplying negative 7 times 2x gives me negative 14x. And negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. We have these like terms in the middle. So I have 6x squared minus 5x minus 21. We got minus 5x in the middle because positive 9 minus 14 is negative 5. Awesome. Now, these sometimes do get a little bit bigger. Let's say if we were multiplying not just binomials, what if we have a binomial times a trinomial? Okay, so this is where your work has to be really neat or it gets crazy on our paper. Alright, so we're going to multiply 5x plus 2, which is a binomial, times x squared minus 4x plus 3. Now that one is a trinomial. It's got 3 terms. Alright, so I'm going to pull out my colors again. Alright, so I'm going to multiply 5x by all 3 of these terms. When I'm done doing that, then I'll multiply the 2 times all 3 of these terms. So this is going to be a something that stretches pretty much across the entire whiteboard that I'm writing on. Alright, so 5x times x squared would give me 5x cubed. Remember, we add the exponents. 5x times negative 4x, negative 20x squared. And 5x times 3 would be plus 15x. Right, now we'll move on to the 2. So 2 times x squared would be plus 2x squared. 2 times the negative 4x would be negative 8x. And 2 times 3 would be plus 6. Now we look for any like terms that we may have. This 5x cubed does not have a like term, so we just bring it down. The x squared and x squared, those are our like terms there. So negative 20 plus 2 would be negative 18. And we keep that x squared. And then we have 15x and negative 8x. So when we put those together, we get plus 7x. And then the 6 on the end, it does not have a like term, so it stays down there. Now another thing that we mentioned in section 1 was descending order. So if you did this in a different order on your paper, when you type it in My Math Lab, you must put it in descending order. Sometimes it will tell you you're wrong if you don't. So that is just good habit. And we typically put all polynomials in descending order. So this is the end of section 2, multiplying our polynomials. So the next one we cover will be 5.3, and maybe I'll see you in a Teams meeting before then.